Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Hi there.
Hey. So I was all like, let's do the podcast. But then unfortunately, I checked my phone. Not so good news for GH. It's always sad when you see these pop up. But to be honest, I was just thinking to myself, I am so glad we got the scene that we got. Because we had Robert leave, the character leave the show with Holly. And it was just so beautiful and such a great surprise when it turned out he was the one to take Sasha in.
I love that full circle moment. I mean, he's been on for what, more
50
than 50
years.
years?
Yeah.
50 years. And like, we are of an age that we remember a lot of what was going on. We didn't watch it from day one of birth, but we've been watching it since our teens. But honestly, probably our mom was probably watching it because we started watching it because of the people around us, right? So what a blessing to have him on screen, to witness what we have, to see those last scenes with him. It's heartbreaking and beautiful that we got to share in his talent. Or observe his talent, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I just feel like those scenes hit different. Like, I mean, I thought that they were warm then and I appreciated then, but appreciate them so much more now. I will say this, go check out Perry Shen's story that he has about Tristan Rogers. It's beautiful. So it's always nice seeing like all the cast kind of writing their memories of him, but that one was probably one of my favorites.
Absolutely. Beautiful story.
Okay, guys, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get started. We're gonna jump right in. So stuff is going down and Joss and Vaughn are just hitting the ground running. What do you think about their little caper so far?
I thought it's the mission of confused emotions. Like, I think that is the main part of this mission. I think it's cute that they get to be
Jocelyn's
together.
part, you mean?
On both of them, quite frankly.
Well, he didn't have a montage moment yet. So,
but he sat very quietly and stared at his ring.
I know. And I was like, is he gonna montage? But he didn't.
Right?
He didn't montage. Look, before we get into all of that, I will say this. We've been seeing Britt, obviously, at the resort before Joss and Vaughn even got there.
Yes.
And one thing has confused me so hard. At first, I thought, oh, these are night scenes. I guess this makes sense. But I realize he wears this outfit all the time. And I just thought the guy who keeps bossing her around has been in his pajamas.
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
I'm not understanding his outfit. And so like I said, at first I'm like, okay, nighttime scenes, he's going into her hotel room. And now it seems like day. And it was the moment Vaughn shows up and is like, hey, can you tell me how this resort works? I'm like, probably just walk inside, Vaughn. But when I look at him, I'm thinking, how do you know he works there?
That's so true.
Because he's manhandling the guests? Or what about this outfit says, I know things here?
Maybe when they were greeted at the front door, they were all wearing a very similar work uniform. Pajamas.
I'm just saying, for the time being, that really throws me off. Logistics corner. Like, are you a boss or are you like ready for a sleepover at any given moment? Like, I'm like, is this what happens when you live where you work?
It's remote work at its best.
Remote. Now, does that make sense? Resort. I don't think so. It just felt like
the resort is in a remote area of Croatia.
I'm like, there are word associations. Okay. So Joss, they're going in to get settled. I don't really agree with Joss on this mission. And there's been a lot of comments about the fact that she's new at this and it's her first mission. Anna's freaking out.
Yes.
I have to admit, though, her saying, hey, let's separate on day one, but that's not what a newlywed couple would do. You're also there for like 2 weeks. You could have went to the spa after a few days, but no, it doesn't make sense that the first day you get there, you're going to do separate activities.
Well, it shows her youth is showing. She doesn't know what marriage looks like, quite frankly, and she just really wanted to go to the spa.
She wants to show her worth, but she's not balancing sort of what Vaughn is capable of doing. This concept of your cover and your job. And she's so gung-ho on job.
Very much so.
Right? And they split up and it was for a reason. And he found Britt.
Did he ever?
I'll just say she's tired of the masseuse. She made that abundantly clear.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. And like, she's been out for what, 2, 3 years out of the
Yeah,
soap?
yeah.
But it just so seamlessly comes together. Just I didn't realize how much I missed her until she started like bantering and she's still who she is and what she stands for and this strong person. And now we understand that she did not do this, of her own free will, that she is being held, that they're holding her Huntingtons against her.
Mhm.
Like it's just so fascinating to see her just like slide right back into who she is.
This is Brit, absolutely, but we also saw her before she left the show. This is maybe just a super, super nuanced thing, but that spicy Brit, the fact that she's
Yes.
harsh and she says what she wants. I want some of that harshness to be there, even though Brit softened a ton before she left. Like, let's be real. She
Yes.
was very much a different person. It's that's the very fun stuff we were talking about last week. The fact that Obrecht has obviously evolved, but she's still Obrecht. And you caught that in the conversation between Laura and Anna this week, where Laura was
Yes.
just trying to confirm that she did the right thing, which speaks
Mhm.
to my thoughts last week because, we talked about what Lulu had missed and perhaps having it sink in more and more the significant role her mother took in Rocco and Dante's life.
Yes.
Because I don't know if we ended up talking about this part, but during that whole back and forth, Laura took over and made like executive decisions about what type of access Obrecht would have with Rocco. Like that wasn't prearranged. That was Laura stepping in and just
Mhm.
sort of making that call while Lulu just stood there frozen.
She was very silent, and Laura did great. Like, I really took time to pay attention to how she maneuvered the situation, and she's very much grandma slash mom. I mean, look, she's mom to Ace. She takes over and stands her ground and supports the people around her when necessary.
But the thing is, obviously they needed a mediator. So let's be
Yes.
fair. Of course, Laura knows that Lulu can't necessarily navigate an interaction with Obrecht because emotions would be high. But she also did not believe that Lulu could think about what was best for Rocco. Because that's a two-parter. You could be a
Yes.
mediator and still give voice to Lulu, but Laura is smart and she knows her daughter. If she knew that Lulu could handle it, she wouldn't have had to kind of take the lead as much as she did. And she's had multiple conversations with her daughter since she's been back. And she's been pretty clear at communicating to Lulu what she feels Lulu can and can't sort of comprehend. But when I
Yes.
saw her consulting with Anna, I'm like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Laura full blown just sort of like made all those decisions about Rocco. And, and that was it. It really was coming more from Laura than anything else.
Well, Laura is the adult in the room. I mean, you posted it. I love, love, love the voiceover you did with Lulu and Rocco and the dog because, like, Laura knows she's the adult in the room. Like, she just knows. And it was proven just like moments after with Lulu's actions.
Absolutely. Those are literally the words I said to my TV as those scenes were happening. But it's also in how Anna described Obrecht, saying, yeah, she's evolved, but she still has her extremes. And that's sort of what makes this whole story interesting is that Obrecht has changed, but she's still rough around the edges. And so I kind of want that when Britt comes back, she's still rough around the edges because it's rough enough for Lulu to get a whiff of what she's always known of these individuals. But
Hmm.
that's what we were talking about last week is that like these characters are extreme, but given the context, given Lulu's situation, that Lulu, one wrong move, and for real though, could like lose Rocco to them. Isn't that
Right?
insane? So that's what would make this story even funnier is that, Brit's not coming back the like how she left, but kind of amplified a little bit of that roughness that she has. And even with that, Rocco can still appreciate her.
Absolutely. I just keep seeing all the cracks. So everything you're seeing, on top of that, we had a moment and I thought about you because if it wasn't today or yesterday where Rocco and Gio are at work and they're catching up. She's like, "Oh, my mom has a dog. You should come over. We have a dog now." And he's like, "Oh yeah. I'm gonna come over. See the dog with Emma. With Emma, I'm gonna come over. Your mom is so awesome."
Well, he made a joke that he'd come over to see the dog and his mom and maybe say hi to Rocco.
I know.
And that's when you knew. Okay, like that's when you're like, when we asked the question last week, like Lulu's in for a ride, right? And she's got she's
I'm sorry.
she has a lot of story in front of her, okay? And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like, you know, Lulu came back again, weird time with Sam leaving, her returning, and then this whole Brooklyn Dante storyline. And it's so funny how I see that now because we had that story and I realize that's just like the start. That was literally just the appetizer, right? Lulu comes back and it was like chaotic. And we've talked about this. She hasn't truly settled or been grounded. I mean, who can call her choices since she's returned grounded? This is a person who hasn't really dealt with the trauma of missing 4 years of your life
Yes.
at all, right? Instead of dealing with that, we saw her hide in Brooklyn, around Brooklyn. Like she became so focused on Brooklyn. And now it kind of makes sense. I thought it was nuts then, but now I can see. Yeah, I think it was way better and easier for her to kind of obsess over Brooklyn than sit and deal with the gap between her and Rocco and how solid. And I don't like she loves her mom, and I think her mom is one of the main anchors, but I don't know if she can navigate how complicated that feels. That she probably loves and is grateful for her mom, but jealous,
Yes. So
you know,
those are complicated feelings to navigate that she's
right?
not capable of complicated feelings.
Because her worry is that Rocco sees Brit as a mother figure, and I don't know if she knows that she's already struggling with this because the really big stuff is there. And Obrecht, we saw the continuation of that interaction, and she really went at Lulu because Laura was stepping in, kind of just saying that, how could you say, that we risk losing Rocco? Like, what exactly do you have? Like, we have a strong bond with him. They do, obviously. They've spent all their lives with Rocco. The thing
Mhm.
is, Obrecht's not wrong to suss out the situation and realize that this is a prickly time for Rocco,
Yes.
and any kind of withholding of her and him and keeping them apart is going to be bad for Lulu. And so when Laura stepped in, I mean, without a second thought, Obrecht was just like, you have a strong bond. Dante has a strong bond. She doesn't.
So good, so
My
bad.
gosh, yes. And I just feel like, oh, that's what she's been hiding from all this time. Like rather than face that reality, like she sort of touched it, right? With Dante here and there, like, I don't know how to raise a teenager. When
Mhm.
it was more than that, it wasn't, "I just don't know how to raise a teenager." It was like, "I don't know my son, so if I could just stay in chaos, I don't have to, like, sit with how that feels, that I missed those
Right.
years, yes, I'm back, but now I actually have to get to know him, like, my absence actually means what bond do we have?" I knew him when he was a kid. He's been mourning me, missing me for years, and now I'm here, and this is amazing. And then it's like reality comes back. The high is
Absolutely.
gone. So this is what I find really interesting is you had all of that Brooklyn drama stuff, and now I feel like this storyline will maybe be a bit more meatier and deeper in terms of like how we see Lulu. Like we're actually seeing her be affected because now it's about this bond with Rocco that she's been hiding from.
Yes.
And okay, so you mentioned the dog, right? So, I mean, we all know what Lulu was doing. Well, as soon as she found out that Obrecht wanted
Ugh.
the dog, she's like, I'll take the dog. I like the voiceover. I mean, that was fun. If you haven't heard it, go check it out on our page. But here's the thing. When I saw Rocco go report back to Gio about like solving the dog problem.
Mhm.
Okay. One thing that's been unexpected between Rocco and Gio is like, look how well they get along. That's
I
so nice.
know. So
But
cute.
But that's not what we would have guessed if you go back to Dante's birthday party. Remember at Dante's birthday party, Rocco was like a little
At
salty
Sunny's.
about, yeah, Gio's connection to Sunny. And like we all knew as an audience that they were brothers. So we're thinking, oh no, a little rivalry. Like, what's it
Mhm.
going to be? But then it turned into this really sweet thing. And we're seeing Rocco kind of able to have boundaries and understand and be able to kind of agree to have this relationship with Gio without bringing his dad too into it and just trying to like keep things separate, right? Respecting Gio's boundaries. And I was like, oh, what a nice turn of events, but not what they were hinting at. But now I'm thinking we will come back to this sort of animosity between the two, you know, once he sleeps with his mom. He might be
Yes,
annoyed.
absolutely. He might be a little upset, yes.
But now I can see absolutely how an opportunity would arise. The dog, the dog,
He
the
opened
dog.
up so many options for us.
Oh my gosh, and that was an interesting conversation between Rocco and Gio. Rocco's like, "Yeah, no, don't be mad at Brooklyn on my account."
Love that.
Because when they have that conversation, you have Gio being, "Yeah, there was the initial adoption thing. I get she was young, but I found out she was pretty horrible also." And Rocco's like, "Oh yeah, tell me," because he's lived with Brooklyn, right? They both
Yeah.
have. And so he's like, "The stuff with you." He's like, "Yeah, I'm cool." Like,
Mm,
the thing is, like, Rocco can hold his own, like, he went to Brooklyn when he was annoyed with the Geo thing. He literally told her
yes.
to her face, "You're not the best person, and my dad's really great," and walked away, like, without batting an eye. And then when he was thankful about the whole learning that Brit gave birth to him, he went up to Brooklyn, "Thanks for that, I really appreciate it, no problem."
Yeah.
Like, Rocco is fine, and I mean, that's obviously the main distinction between Brooklyn and Lulu is that Lulu tries to nudge and pull and shape a younger person's thinking, whereas, like, Brooklyn just allows Rocco to do him. She doesn't aim to kind of, you know, influence him in any way.
Mhm.
She's just sort of that rock, that grown up, that adult that is just there, solid for you, lets you do this and understands that you're a kid and be on your way. Like that's the difference between the two of them. And so like Gio's really trying to search for a reason. And the funny thing was is that, Lulu tries to go visit Rocco every time she's at work.
So gross.
Right? And even Dante, I'm not saying it was bad that he did it, but like when he
Mhm.
saw Gio at Anna's or at the pool, he'll really kind of try to have as much conversation as he thinks he could have in that moment. Brooklyn
Yes.
didn't touch it. She didn't touch it. She walked in and was like, "I'm here for a meeting." And she was giving him that space. Like she heard him. He said, "I don't want to have anything to do with you." And she feels like that's the only thing she could offer him. Like she knows how much she hurt him and she wants to
Yes.
minimize that hurt and she's going to take her lumps. She made her choices. It came out. She's not spending all of her time running around at Lulu. She's focusing on this and she walked away. The funny thing was, if you watch Gio's face, he seemed disappointed that Brooklyn
Yeah.
didn't take more in that moment.
I felt that way too.
And then he's like, "Yeah, she's really, really terrible." So it's like, he keeps trying to be all, I'm I took time and nothing's changed for me. And it's like everyone knows you're still so raw and there is no time limit. And the funny thing is he's connected. They're just connected by family. He's having that talk with Sunny saying, "Yeah, he came around, I'm grateful. And I don't think this is over." And then he has that talk with Michael. It's you're connected to all these people you're willing to talk to, and they're connected to Dante and Brooklyn. And I think they're adults and they can kind of tell you that life is complicated, take all the time you want.
Mhm.
And Michael pushed. I was surprised because, we know that
Yeah.
Michael, the character, how he is generally, but I was just surprised but happy that when Michael spoke to Gio, he just kept pushing. Like, I don't think you're happy. I think you're hurting yourself. What piece of advice I think Michael left out in all of this? He went for the I learned to forgive my dad multiple times.
Mhm.
But I felt he could have baby stepped Gio into it and said, it's hard when it comes to family, especially when you have so many people in common. And during those times when I was on the outs with my dad, we had to learn to coexist.
Exactly. There's a lot of just rose-colored view of things, like a very
Yeah.
high level response.
And I feel like maybe Gio would have made more space if Michael talked about, how he navigated being there, for people like Donna, which by the way, at some point Donna has to introduce Gio as her nephew. Just saying, if you hear me, this
Absolutely,
has to
yes.
happen. But I think that Gio might have wanted to do that because he doesn't want to talk to them and he wants to be angry. So, and I think he wants to be angry with them nearby. And I think he wants to be around them so he could push them away. And he was not gonna say that, but I think it would have been helpful if Michael just explained that. You could be around them, and I think that they would respect your boundaries if you don't wanna talk to them. And you have to kinda learn, especially when you have so many shared people in common. I mean, like I said, Gio's gonna crack by Christmas or Thanksgiving
It has to be,
if he
yes,
gets
Thanksgiving.
arrested. So many ifs. Okay, all of this, and it started with Britt and everybody back at the Five Poppies, okay?
Yes.
Joss sees Britt. Did you not love that moment?
It was so good because poor thing, she did see a ghost, her reaction and her storming away, but the best part was getting Vaughn away from her.
My gosh, yes. Yes, but, like, Vaughn did such a good job, like, that whole flirting thing, it was just
Yes.
amazing, and he tried to explain to her, like, why he went that avenue, but how shocking was it for Joss? I always love that. I always love that when they see, like, a dead person come back, and I have to say, I'm gonna just give an early gold star. We love soaps. We love soaps. We love
Love.
General Hospital. So I loved that we got such a soapy moment, right? Because Vaughn's like, "Why'd you do that? They're back in the hotel room. He doesn't understand why she intercepted that whole thing." And then she finally gets to it. She's supposed to be a dead woman. And I'm like, yes! Just the way it came out, it was so soapy, so dramatic. And there were these funny moments where, obviously during her flashbacks, we saw how Vaughn sees Jocelyn. You don't belong here, kind of a thing. You're some
Yes.
privileged girl. You don't belong here. But when she said, she saved me from a serial killer, died. Died. That was so funny. And he was like, I'm going to need that story later.
Well, because he's still technically a normie, even though he's a WSB agent.
They start doing a bunch of research on Brit, and that's when I kind of realized this whole how the situation shifts. That because she knows Brit, she was like confined to the bedroom.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff coming out really quickly. I'm gonna make a guess that we're just gonna get one more week of Five Poppies next week. But in this week, we have Joss IDs Brit. Then it turns out we find out who's involved. So how did you react when you found out Colette, like, not only is in contact with Pajama Dude, but then tries to arrange to have Pajama Dude kill Joss, who, a few seconds earlier, she tried to have Brennan extract. Wait, did she try to have Brennan extract both or just Jocelyn?
Ooh, good point. I don't remember, but I think it's just that she wanted to like call off the mission. But she was focusing on the fact that Joss was a newbie, but then I couldn't tell if it was like both or just the fact that she's new or that it was just not the right situation for either of them.
We know that Colette hates Carly. I don't know what her deal was, if she was actually trying to get any of the WSB agents out of the line of fire. But like, dude, what's your deal?
Like, are you good? Are you bad? Are you the head of this whole
Obviously.
operation? Right? Because we did hear she, remember, at some point in time, yes, they keep referring to a he, but there is a
Yes.
she at the top of like way, way, way long ago when Cyrus is still kicking around.
Yeah, I feel like they've abandoned all of that, to be honest. But I'm just so curious, though, because John is like, is it Sidwell? I'm like, no, it's not Sidwell, because Sidwell and Dalton were talking about a boss, like somebody else that they were answering to. And they made it clear that whoever this boss is usually on the resort. And that recently they took, like, they're away for a little bit. So, like, I am dying to know who this villain is and who has Brit trapped like this. So we have this bit. And so a lot of fun things are happening finally with this whole Joss and the WSB thing. And Brit, like everything is kind of colliding and collating all over the place.
Love that. You should put that in the caption.
I will. And Jason, thank you.
Oh my
Thank you
gosh. Oh my, no,
for
no, but like,
that
what?
suit.
Okay, I
That
was like, please tell
suit.
me this is the lead up to the suit.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I was distracted at first because when his car pulled up and I'm like, that's the front of General Hospital. Like we've seen that brick before, everybody. And then he gets there. And I have to say, so like if you compare, okay, I know that like there was a lot of explosive moments at the resort. So we see like Vaughn being like, I don't need backup. And then he needed backup bad. And so
So bad.
Jocelyn comes in and wiggles the gun and shoots. And I'm like, to be honest, it would have been funny if it ended with "oops," like, after she makes the shot.
I agree.
I'm assuming she got business done, but to be honest, my favorite was actually Jason and Britt seeing each other because it was just I found it stood out more for me, like, just him looking up and seeing her, and we got to see her see him, and we're getting, like, a tease of both of their reactions. I'm so interested. Like, I know people could be dying in Joss's room right now. I am so dialed into this because he's there as John Moore, and it confuses me, not gonna lie, logistics corner. Every time he says Mr. Moore, I'm always like, Gin, Morgan." I'm like, "What is wrong with this guy in pajamas? I cannot pronounce his name." So but yeah, I'm excited because part of me is like, "Okay, I think Jason knows, like, not to approach her right away."
Absolutely.
And so, like, the fact that they saw each other, it's like, okay, this part's happening. So it means the rest of the week is sort of them trying to talk and him trying to figure out what's going on. And I mean, I know this is going to end with all four of them on a WSB jet home. But
Yes.
aside from like the Jason and Britt thing, I cannot wait for Jason to come face to face with Jocelyn in this context.
So looking forward to it. Like I was hoping it was the moment where like Jasha still has the gun in her hand
Yes.
and like his villa happens to be like right beside.
I think, like, if they, for some bizarre reason, do not cross until, like, later in the week, then we could get that gun moment because I don't see them getting Brit off the island without some gunfight.
Absolutely.
And her meds.
Absolutely.
And her meds. So
Ooh,
that's gonna
and
be
her
part of the mission
man.
probably is getting her medication and herself or whatever out of there.
I can't wait. Like you said, that moment, early start for me as well. That moment when it's completely silent and Jason and Brett lock eyes, you're like, I had goosebumps instantly.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Monday. I hope they're on Monday.
They
Okay,
better be.
so
I had all this filler stories of Curtis.
my god, so good though. I'm loving this guy. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, 100% what's wrong with you? Like, they're starting to do more, right? Like, now they're actually talking about his personality. They're openly saying he's rigid. He's even saying, "Oh my god, you're like me. I'm like super rigid. Like, you shouldn't be." But whatever. So, like, there's this all this new awareness, okay, about that. But just after everything he's gone through with Portia, everything. I don't understand. I don't understand. So now that you and Portia are in a good place, he's like, yes, I can pursue a secret friendship with my ex Jordan. Johnny keeps asking me, he's like, they're reminiscing about Baltimore. I'm like, nothing happened in Baltimore. The fact that these two have champagne glasses and they're cheersing to her new place. Hi, you have Port Charles references where you were married.
Obviously, it wasn't so good.
Just because I told him, I'm like, nothing romantic happened until Port Charles.
Yeah.
But like, look, I don't know. I love Jordan, I do, but I do feel like they're doing something to her because Jordan is really level-headed. We saw the conversations they had, but they're creating a Jordan who's in conflict with being
Yes, they are.
seduced by the darker side, right? So they won't stop talking about the fact that she's making so much money.
So
And
much.
right? And so like now it's like this question. Well, what are you going to do? You know, are you going to be able to take him down? Will you be able to let all of this go after years of being a civil servant and kind of like not having this kind of money? So now they're showing this part of Jordan. Like, could she be seduced by all of this? She's not wrong that she has to play the part and show him she's committed. But I think it's more than that, right? Because Jordan of before is not really, that's not true. Because the Jordan before cheated on her husband with his best friend and had TJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just hadn't seen that side of her. We knew it was her backstory, but when you met Jordan, you're like, "Okay, that's her past," because there's no part of her that's that person now. Maybe that's all the Baltimore talk. It's more about Jordan's
That's where it
past
turned. Yeah.
that than it is about, like, Curtis, but I mean, that look she gave when he walked out, like, that look told me, she's like, "Yeah, I don't care about Portia, like, I think I'm gonna have to do this if I feel like it."
She's definitely in the give no F's era.
Oh my gosh, and I love that for her. And then you have, like, I'm sorry, I know that it's just a set and it's just, like, a corner, but I want to go to that restaurant. The vibes seem amazing,
Yes.
and
We
it
got a new
seems
set?
yeah, and it seems so real. I'm like, I was looking and I'm like, this is cool, like, his drink, her wine, because it would have been easy to just shove 2 glasses of wine, so it just felt like a real dinner, that, like, sunset vibe, like, I
Yeah.
loved it. I just was like, look, I'm glad they ended the night with her dress on the floor. Good for you guys, but I wanted to see more restaurant. And so then when it like flipped so fast to them being in bed, I'm like, is that what they mean by turning over the tables in restaurants?
Stop.
Like, anyways, so then there's Isaiah who's like, okay, thank you,
That's so
Felicia,
gross.
for your advice to not insert myself in their relationship, but I have inserted myself in Jordan, so maybe I should talk to her.
He's just again, like you said, he's just searching for a storyline, just trying to figure out where he belongs.
You should try that cabin that Lucky gave him, see if he can find anything there.
Soon he will, I'm
I
sure.
do. I absolutely do think he will. But yeah, that was just insane. Like, you have Felicia giving you like sound advice, and he's like, thank you. And to her face, you're like, I'm gonna do a not sound thing. And I'm like, do you, Isaiah? It's not gonna go well at all to talk
At
to Jordan
all.
about any of this. Okay, so it works out that she shows up to see Isaiah, and I love how Jordan's like, why are you calling? Like, not one part of her
Love
cares.
it.
But it happened. We saw Drew make the call last week,
We did, sadly.
and they showed up, and I just couldn't be happier that Jordan was there to kinda, like, navigate her through all of this. And also, I'm just saying, like, right before that happened, Stella's, like, inviting her to Portia and Curtis's house.
So cute. She just loves everybody.
Well, because like, they're
They are
family,
family.
right? But, yeah, I am just super worried for Stella.
I'm really worried, but like you said, it's really kind of putting together the storyline of Tracy and Martin coming together.
Yes.
We even got those scenes in the restaurant. Like, how could somebody like Stella be friends with somebody like Tracy? So it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Ties have been cut, right? Like, you know, Tracy's been pretty clear with people. She's said it over and over. Politics makes for strange bedfellows,
Mhm.
but to drop Measure C, like she dropped it. She's that mad. Like I love
Yeah.
seeing family Tracy come
Me
out
too.
and her relationship with Michael, loving it. So now she's completely pulled away from Drew. Drew, oh God, off the
So
charts
gross.
of Looney Tunes this week. So absolutely, I think they're amplifying the hate just for that, like, when they turn to lovers moment is going to be really fun and interesting. But Drew's like on a journey this week specifically. Like we were like, where is he going to go next? I don't think it's anywhere good. It's been pretty awful. Like they've definitely opened up this avenue where like Drew is absolutely open to messing with kids. We saw him mess with Wiley during the custody hearing.
Hmm.
Um, there's been a lot of concern for Scout.
Yeah.
There's always that conversation, particularly like around like the whole drugging thing, um, about like would Alexis at some point try to go for custody? Because if you just think soap wise and just
Hmm.
sort of that legacy of Scout, picturing her someday putting on her mom's leather jacket. There was other
Yeah.
things too that sort of hinted when Sam died about significant figures for her. So what did stand out to me when Sam died, like as in Halloween, like the night of? She was with Danny and Jason was with them. And Jason ended up being the one to tell her. Drew wasn't full blown cuckoo then, but he wasn't
Hmm.
around. And Jason ended up taking care of her and Danny. Carly was at the house and ended up breaking the news to Drew. And I remember thinking during that period that I think that Jason would have a big part of her life, And I just found it notable that in these really significant moments of Sam's death, Drew was quite absent.
Yes, absolutely.
And And when I think about like generational stuff and the whole thing that they tried to create in recent years about the Davis women, I think Scout has to be a part of that more fully, right? Like, I don't necessarily see her moving to DC. And from the
Hmm.
looks of it, even if it isn't Alexis, I absolutely don't see Scout growing up with her father. And while everybody has been debating Scout's happiness,
Yes.
this week for the first time we're hearing it and seeing straight from Scout that she is in fact suffering. Like, not just in the
Yeah.
obvious way we know because we know the details, but we're seeing how awful this has been, like how, like, we talked about Will's kids and
Isolating.
all the exactly all the changes that have gone on for the kids, but like to be ripped away from your brothers and Dante, and just how much Drew has dishonored everything, Sam, like, everything she wanted for her daughter. Like, Drew was not around, and they started this storyline between them when he came back, that he was just well, out of prison, but that he was a little erratic
Hmm.
about Scout, like, he started to treat her like an object. He wanted her in these prestigious schools. He didn't care about her feelings, and we're seeing that being picked up, now, obviously, without Sam in the picture, like, that seed was planted, but off the charts with Danny. Because I think at the beginning of the week when you had, like, Alexis, consulting with Molly, and you have her consulting with Marco. I guess there was a part of me who didn't stop for a second to think, like, this is like Danny's mom and sister, right?
Yes.
Them three. And I guess I didn't think, how far would Danny go? Like, yes, it's hard for Scout being ripped away, but imagine Danny, like, he's not living in his home. His mom is
Yeah.
not there. Absolutely, he has a brother in Rocco, and he has family in Dante, and he lives with the Quartermains, but he's also lost a lot too. Like, he lost his sister.
Yes. Exactly. It'd be so adorable. Like, I what a position that he's in. Leave her there upset or take her home.
Yeah. Yeah. And just I mean, look, he needed to have called someone, like, we all know, but this is a
Yes.
kid mistake. But just the fact that Drew was willing to have this kid arrested beyond words, like how vile he was being. And it was quite
Yes.
awful, when he's listing off these things of Danny, it's like Danny is not just those things, but this is what I mean. Someone like this using any mistake you make, and it's hard because you can't argue those things being real, but he's like forgoing every other aspect of this child. It's tainted by Jason and how he spoke to Alexis.
Wow. Wow. So disrespectful. He does such a good job of being the bad guy. Because I look at the screen, I'm like, wow, I cannot wait for the Who Done It scene.
I mean, I know for so long I used to feel like, "Oh my gosh, this guy is like too nice. He's such a cartoon. Like, what's happening?" But now I'm wondering if they amplified that knowing where his character was going.
I mean, if that was the case, that was brilliant because we all said, like, he's not very good at processing his feelings. He doesn't feel like a real
Yeah.
character, real person. How does he got through this trauma just trying to be this, like, air quotes, good guy, happy
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
where the evil lurks and was still growing and bubbling up?
I was just glad that, like, Alexis was there. And again, Chase said it as well, like, "You're lucky he wasn't picked up by somebody else and that it was me." And I'm glad that Chase was able to kind of stand up and sort of see Drew for what he was and what he was doing and act accordingly and do what was right while, respecting the law, kind of a thing.
Yes.
But I felt so bad for Scout, and, like, while I'm reeling from, like, threatening to her, it's like it's Sam's child. Like, even just that alone. Like, do you feel nothing for this woman? And
Right?
and to even say, like, "Oh, he was talking to somebody else, "I lost the mother. I lost so much, like, Sam, the mother of my daughter." I think he was talking to Kai. But while, like, I'm there just freaking out as he's talking, and, like, Alexis trying to navigate this, and Jason and everybody, Johnny's like, "Scout's been in the car all this time?"
Right? Exactly.
And that's how much she's the center of his world. He wants to put her in a bubble somewhere where nobody can touch her. So nobody can touch Scout, but he has no problem walking up to Wiley.
He so deserved that punch, but I hate that it happened.
No, I know, exactly, because if he was willing to have Danny arrested, immediately, like, he's gonna have, like, Michael arrested. So I wanna say this, I believe it might have been, like, last week. Last week I'd posted this picture of Drew, and on it, Nancy Powers had made a comment about, like, this whole custody thing and theorizing that Scout could end up with Molly. And I honestly think that's the route. That's what's gonna happen.
I
And
love that so much
yeah.
because Michael, I mean, different reasons, but like Michael at some point in his life had custody of his sibling or, somebody he's related to. And like for Molly to have custody of Scout, I think it's such a perfect fit and exactly what Molly needs and Scout needs, really.
Yeah, so, like, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting thought," because, like, I mean, look, like, we know that right now, Alexis and Christina, they're in some messed up stuff, and if you look at their life history, like, all of it. But you look at Molly and you're like, "Well, this person's got a clean record and probably the best shot out of all 3 of them." And it's just, I don't know, like thinking about this is so interesting. Like Molly spent a lot of time with Sam. She really loved her. And it's also the fact that like right now, Molly's under construction. She's been like a Molly for so long. She went through a lot of hard stuff with the baby storyline.
Mhm.
And now she's in this place where it's like her and TJ are no longer together. She's getting in touch with, a part of herself she had let go of. So just writing her novel. So that romantic, soft part of Molly is
Yeah.
there. And I didn't see this coming, but I can see it being this really cool way of shaping the next chapter of Molly's life. To
Yeah.
kind of have custody, like it's so huge for Molly to end up being the one possibly to like raise Scout.
It is huge and it's so beautiful because it will just help Molly grow and be the person that she's like
Exactly.
meant to be and like rewrite her path like mixing that version of who she was before with who she is now in this like grown up version and also being a mom slash aunt figure.
Yeah, because you talk about rewriting her path, but I also think this
Mhm.
is also rewriting her past, like it's more about your ability to be in the gray. And Molly is least in the gray. And there's nothing that's going to get you there than like having kids, loving
Right.
this girl. And I mean, she's going to be thrown into these really, really complex emotional situations that you can't necessarily navigate in a black and white way. So when I thought about how Molly could grow as a person and really evolve from this black and white pieces to just being more gray, more messy, more human, I never thought of it happening like this, but I think it's like so perfect for her character arc to have this. And so he'd have to die, right, Drew? Is that what's happening?
There's nothing confirmed anywhere. Everybody wants a whodunit. Even we spoke about it.
Yeah.
The actor himself saying like, I'm not going anywhere. I love my job. I love being a part of GH. So it's either the best kept secret or something else.
Because the thing is, as much as like the character right now, it's being painted that way, right? We're slowly watching
Hmm.
him rack up enemies left and right. Like he even went to Sidwell, right? You know,
Yes.
everything that he's doing, he's making enemies out of Alexis, the ants, like everyone. And then he makes the point of telling Alexis, I am Scout's only living parent. And I'm like, living, huh? And I'm starting to feel that his status as living is at risk. So yes,
Yes.
I absolutely think that they're, kind of backing him into a corner. He's going to get into some trouble. We know that there's a cabin available, but I can't for the
Mm-mm.
life of me believe that they would actually get rid of this character. I don't.
I know,
So
right?
so it's either, something of the sort where we think he's dead or something horrible has happened, which lends to him getting custody. And maybe he just kind of takes off for self preservation for some time. I think in the end, Scat will be full time with Molly. I think we're going to see her grow up with the Davis women. But yeah, like, I think it is a well kept secret because I can't believe that they would kill him off, but I do believe that there will be a whodunit and something pretty bad's gonna happen to Drew. I mean, when Boyle starts questioning you.
Well, here's the thing. Like we've also toyed with the route, which I'm not giving up on yet. That maybe if Portia goes back through his file to find something about his DNA, who he actually is, because he thought he was somebody else. Then he's like, okay, I'm Drew. Is there something that completely takes him out of the equation just because of genetics?
That actress they have coming into the Quartermains, I don't know if it could have anything to do with Drew,
Maybe we'll find out.
but I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people, like, kinda it's like, I don't know who he is ultimately, like, if he's someone I don't believe he was switched, but I do think it's an interesting way to kinda be like, "Well, you know what? A lot of crap happened to him. He was such a nice
Yeah,
guy. He was a nice guy. He went to jail for Carly, and look what happened to him." Like, he's missed out on years of his life, like, and he had that interesting conversation, I think, with Anna about just being so angry. about things. And he had a hard childhood too, when he talked about that. Like he didn't get to grow up like Jason did. So I do think that, I know that people are looking for these stories because his personality changed so much, but I think if anything, they might just be taking into account the entire backstory of the character in order to create motivation for a lot of this stuff. We might not see it till later, but I do think if you look at his whole story, yeah, like he could have snapped. Like I think that that's plausible too.
Yeah, totally. Maybe he ends up in Ferncliff. We know somebody hasn't been there.
Yeah,
Like nobody's been there for a really long time.
no. Not saying that Lucas needs to. Right now, everything is good between Carly, him, and Marco. But I mean, because Marco is going to help Michael lose custody. Like, he's so naive. He's so naive.
So funny to watch, though.
Him and Willow?
What did you think of that? Because it's like one oblivious person to another.
Okay. I think Lucas is oblivious about his own life, but he
Yes, fair.
actually was able to articulate things that I don't think I would have been able to do, like things that he picked up on, because I actually found myself agreeing with him. It was really interesting when she painted Drew as a drug for Willow, and he wasn't wrong though. Like she was
True.
like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't do anything like you did." She didn't walk away, and I
She
do agree
didn't.
with him. Like on a deeper level, she thinks changes like not like having broken up with Drew is sufficient. But the point is, like, my gosh, it's about what happened to you. Okay. Like, it's about reflecting on your own choices. You were attracted to Drew. You followed this and you said he manipulated, he did. Okay. But what happened to you? How did you get here? What was going on with you that this situation happened and then snowballed to the point that you lost your kids? And they're actually starting to show other characters go, like Willow deserves access to her kids. And I think that she does. But I'm saying, I don't understand. Like everyone can see that she's not well, right? And it's also the judge. The judge made the declaration. And everyone keeps acting like Michael is doing something wrong by abiding by it. And imagine he's
Yes.
not running around telling people what she did. Like Dante's actively going to be searching for proof that she, in fact, tormented Sasha and Daisy. And I'm sure they
Yes.
can find footage at the hospital or some evidence, about the baby switch. I'm sure there's something you can get her walking around at some point. I agreed with some of what Lucas said. The fact that she engaged with him. That's the point, like
Mm-hmm.
disengage. So I agree. She gave Drew a bunch of her energy. She allowed Lucas to speak for her, and she
Yes.
let him go pretty far, and then she's like, "Okay, I can do this myself." So once again, she lets someone steps in and then tries to act like, "Look at me, I can handle everything." It's like, but you let Lucas do it. It's not like you said, "I got this from the start." You didn't. You're allowing Lucas to help. You're engaging with Drew. Like the whole thing was really messy, but how
Yes.
he was able to say like that would have been the bare minimum, and the fact that he point out how her actions were impacting like her coworkers, that her coworkers were putting themselves out there for her, and
Mm-hmm.
she's not really doing anything to change and work on herself. So I definitely agree with all of those points. And I am concerned, like I feel like Elizabeth is doing a good job in the sense that she's allowing space for Willow to find herself rather than stepping in and trying to tell her what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Michael doesn't want this to be a thing. It's not a punishment. He's not trying to hurt her, but he does know her in an intimate way that other people don't. You know how your coworkers see you, you're sad, you're suffering, you're walking around, but she's not well. She's had breakdowns in front of him. She hasn't been well in her thinking. You know what I mean? She's not clear on how to prioritize the kids. And he just wants her to be well. Like, I don't think he wants his kids
Absolutely.
to be without a mom. So I'm kind of not liking this whole mixed messaging. Like, everyone suddenly doesn't understand that because they feel bad for her. I think Elizabeth can keep focused because she was able to send her home and she wasn't gonna hide this. She's head nurse. She can't really hide the fact that you assaulted a colleague.
Mm-hmm.
But Chase, on the other hand, how is it that you can see right through Lulu that you don't even acknowledge her? You can see Drew for who he is and navigate that situation, but you can't see this Willow person that you care about for where she is at. You were concerned for her at one point. You were gentle with her. And of course, I think that there is a Willow in there. Of course, I think she's there, but she's not well now. And I don't think someone like Chase is doing Willow any service by treating her with kid gloves and not giving her some of that tough love. Because Lucas had a lot of good points, and I think that some of the stuff he shared, like on her accountability front, needs to be told to her by someone who loves her and in a more gentle way. I think there has to be someone to be able to say, like, look, Willow, I know it's hard where you are. Like hearing that she assaulted someone. Okay,
Hmm.
fair ask. Did he do something to you first? But he didn't. And all she got from that was, oh my gosh, you're the only person to give me the benefit of the doubt. No follow-up questions, Chase?
I
No, like,
know.
why did you do that? Like, Willow, you haven't really been acting yourself. Like, I know this is hard for you. Like, have you considered, talking to someone just to get yourself back on track for the kids? He's not doing that. He's putting up that mirror that Drew once did, right? She made a mistake and suddenly she wasn't perfect. And she loved the fact that Drew saw her as perfect. And now what? You're going to stick to Chase because he's like, look, I'm holding up a mirror of the person you once were. Look, it's just still there. And I'm going to treat you as if only this is happening rather than like really be a friend and kind of help you get your kids back. Like being nicey nice is not going to help Willow get it together enough to get her kids back.
He can't even see past that though. Like the fact that he's confiding in her at this stage in the game. So she's trying to get her life together.
You're
She's
right.
nowhere near where she should be. He is broken from the whole Geo thing, has nobody to really talk to about that and bounce things off of. So now he's going to Fantasyland, or Willow Land, as we discussed last week. And he's just like living in this complete opposite topsy-turvy world. And like we talked about it, like we see Brooklyn and Dante getting closer, and then
Yeah.
Chase just has no place to be. And Willow is just this easy place where she has stars in her eyes for any guy who gives her a compliment.
Yeah, you see the difference, right? It's like it's two messed up people bonding when you see
Yes.
Chase and Willow, but when you see Brooklyn and Dante, there are no romances there. Like there are
Heck
no
no.
sparks. Like when you look at Chase and Willow, you're like, you're gonna have an affair. And
Totally.
when you see Brooklyn and Dante, you're like, you're probably gonna hook up at some point. But right now, what I'm seeing is no flirting, no hint of romance, but pretty strong foundation you keep showing us.
Yeah.
So I think that there could be something there at some point, but I'm just so disappointed in Chase. Like
Me
he's been
too.
such a good husband, really good partner to Brooklyn. But if you believe that being a good partner and being a good husband is just being a hero, he's a cop,
Love it.
but
Yeah.
it
He
bothers
loves
me
it.
that like that's not all it is. Being a good husband means being vulnerable with your wife, not your ex-wife.
What is up with the ex-wife friendships? Can't handle it.
Well, I mean, it's not something Chase can handle, obviously. Well, not now anyway. And it's certainly not something but it's so funny with Curtis though. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm like, you know what, Curtis? Like this, I cannot wait to see the mess you cause. I honestly cannot wait to see how messy this gets.
Actually, me too. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty funny, especially when they were gonna cheers with their champagne.
I
Way
just
to make
I
a moment
just
awkward.
oh my gosh. Anyways, I wonder where Trina, like how she's gonna feel about all of this, right? Because it's gonna be Curtis who cheats first. I think. I don't know.
Ooh, I
It
don't.
has to be. You know why? Because at first I thought it was gonna be Isaiah and Portia, but now I
Yes.
think it's gonna be Curtis and Jordan. Because right now he's not even bonding with Jordan because he's on the rocks with his wife. Like it's pure like, I want to do this. Like it's a choice. Like it's a choice. And I think Isaiah is there as kind of like you were right, and he's waiting in the wings. Like so, I don't think he's gonna instigate it. He's like the waiting in the wings guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see that totally.
Okay, so the ADA did a really good job setting boundaries. She was there. She was like, "Don't send me a basket of products anonymously." Okay? But I am going to show up to your house and have din with you and your daughter.
And look at you with starry eyes as well.
What? And it didn't take much. And every time I see them out in public, I laugh because it makes me feel so much better knowing what Sunny's plan is and that she's walking right into that trap. He's like, just
Yeah.
need to be seen with this girl in public. Like it started with their emergency room little thing. And now she sees him being a
Oh my
dad who
god.
cooks. And the fact that the
Peppa.
daughter likes her, and it's clear that no one really does, and to have this, like, little girl be like, "Love your hair," "She's so amazing," and, like, adore you, she melted.
It was good. Like I almost felt like Donna was in on it. Like Sunny shared his strategy, and Donna's like, "I got you, Dad."
Seriously, and then and to top all of this off, Now she's gonna see him like a victim because Drew's at the door trying to blackmail him.
That's amazing. It's so good.
But I feel like that's gonna be the start of Drew's downfall. Like, what is she gonna do? Like, what is she? Can she do anything? Because now she knows who Drew is. So is her focus gonna change there?
Ooh, and they're going to be on the same side.
Because suddenly she was like all balanced. Like, I don't want to get someone because I've turned them into a villain in the eye of public opinion. I'm like, well, that's very evolved of you. I think it's
Right?
best to do your job because she was really caught up in her ego and climbing the ladder. Her saying that, but now it's different though, because I feel like this scene, yes, I hope it's the start of them, trying to take down Drew and obviously protect Michael. But I think it's also the part where she learns that the bad guys aren't always the bad guys, you know?
Exactly.
That line. So that was interesting for sure, and absolutely good move. You don't want him to send you a basket. You think it's inappropriate, so showing up to his house, this girl.
I'm here for it. Honestly, out of all the
Yeah.
ADAs, I'm interested to see this go down.
I am worried about Maxie though, because Sidwell got so much information from
Boy.
James. James showed up and did his thing because he's so pivotal in certain storylines. Like he was the one who told Ned about Willow and Drew, right?
Yes.
And so then Sidwell nodding to that, being like, this kid was surprisingly useful. It's like, he is. He absolutely is. So yeah. Yeah. I'm worried about Maxie.
Well, especially when she's talking to Brooklyn and saying, like she's like, what's her family? And then the whole conversation of, not having a trust fund. Like, I'm curious to see where Maxie's story goes because it's all going to kind of
Yeah.
intersect with Obrick and Britt. And we talked about, are they going to all be living together? Like, what does this all look like?
Oh my gosh, I
Right?
hope so. I really hope they all end up at our house at some point. Okay, do you know what a bunch of bananas are called?
No, tell me.
They can be referred to as a hand. So while Anna is a banana, Emma is a hand. She's a hand, okay? Like for me to see
That's
Anna's
so
frustration,
good.
Emma is not grounded. She is one track mind and she
Mm-hmm.
cannot think things through or see beyond what she wants or needs. And it was just so insane. Like she's talking to her grandma, seeing like, you of all people, like I'm trying to do some good in the world, like you. And I'm like,
Boy.
because because you're being so reckless about it. And the worst
Right?
part is she lacks so much information about all the things. Like it's weapon stuff.
Right?
Oh, I just cannot wait to see the moment where Emma like sees that Joss is living the life she wants. Like obviously Emma doesn't necessarily want to be like a WSB agent, but this
Right.
idea that she believes that like I could save the world. Like she was so youthful, basically. Like her youth
Yes.
in that
Totally.
conversation with Anna. And for me to agree with her, it's like she's like, Emma, I'm trying to save you from yourself. And it's true. Like she is a little like
Completely. Oh my gosh. I cannot with her. So just because we're talking about Anna, which made me think about Obrecht, some of my favorite scenes are with like basically Obrecht. Obrecht and Tracy everywhere, any
yes.
time of day, because it's like Obrecht just Carly having that conversation. And Carly, like, yeah, you're right. I'll get you the penthouse. Anna, come vouch for me. Okay, yeah, she's good. She don't cause too much trouble. Like, I
Just
just love them together.
I was just annoyed that Carly tried. I
Ugh,
think
I
that
know.
Obrecht can see how much Carly wasn't passionate about it, but I just don't think it was something she should have done.
No, so she did it. I totally agree. I understand she's trying to have this relationship with Lulu. So I really feel like she gave it like a 2% effort because she didn't deny it. She talked it out with Obrick. She's setting her up at a different place. Like it's a win-win for the most part. And in the end, when Rocco does find out, it's Lulu that's going to look bad, but everybody's done their part.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think there were adults talking. I think Obrecht kind of understood Carly, but I'm just saying, we know that Britt's alive, but the point is, this woman lost her daughter because she saved your daughter's life. How you were
Uh,
able to look her in the face and try to get her out of the hotel, I honestly don't know how you could have done that. And
I totally
didn't
agree.
realize that, but yeah, there is this home court advantage that Obrecht lives at the Metro Court. But I'm just saying, I cannot, penthouse suite or not, I cannot see how you could bring yourself to do that given that fact. I can't at all.
I totally agree with you.
Hard time watching that.
Okay, so it was a really good week in terms of stars. Well, I have like a -10 star for Drew. But do you what are your stars?
Stars to the soapy moment with Joss. Definitely
Yeah.
the star for like the Jason Britt, but I do have a gold star moment between Cody and Tracy.
Oh
I
my gosh.
loved what she said to him because they had a conversation about the whole Ava thing. Well, the details he was able to share. But he said something to her like, "But you haven't known me for a very long time." And she said, "The thing is, I know who you are now, not who you were." And I
Love
loved
that.
that moment between Tracy and Cody, and just her nod to this, referring to the kids as like the next generation of the Quartermains. Like, I love
Yeah.
that, the idea of this, going on and on and on. So yeah, gold star to the Tracy Cody stuff.
I love that. And I do have a favorite line. It's just a silly line between Joss and Vaughn when they're going through all their mission things. And Joss says to Vaughn, "Yes, sir." He says, "That's husband, sir, to you."
They have a lot of jokes between the two of them. They're always like really quick. But that one was
Yeah.
cute, and, like, I liked one between Nina and Ava. So Ava sort of shares, like, the way that, like, I think Cody appreciates her, and then Nina says, "I vaguely remember what that feels like," which was good. Okay, I don't have a gold star for Marco because I'm just like, this is not good. This is not good for Wiley and Amelia using
No.
those kids as leverage. I don't think he realized that. Like, Lucas thinks that Sonny using Marco, who is aware of his dad's business, who
Mhm.
clearly understood how it worked because of how Marco reacted to the entire situation and how he's engaging and like retaliating. He thinks that's unfair. Like, Carly was right. He could have killed him and he didn't. And it
Yeah.
was fair game too at this point. Anyways. I just can't wait for I just can't wait for the moment that Lucas kind of is hit with this whole reality.
I totally agree.
I wanna give stars for people who are, like, going through a ton and dealing with a lot. A gold star for Elizabeth to have to deal with Willow, and I can't believe
Yes.
I'm doing this, but a gold star to Anna for having to deal with Emma.
I love it. That means a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I wanna give a gold star for the future chaos that Curtis will inevitably create, and I'm here for it.
Totally here for it.
Okay, so Cutie Pie coloring book, everybody. Okay, so our Cutie Pie coloring book is available on Amazon. And we also have our Cutie Pie coloring page on Instagram. So kind of like how we try to create a community here, which we have with the Port Charles update. The whole idea with the Cutie Pie coloring book is also doing that, sharing your characters that you create with us so that we could post them, so that way you could throw out your kids' pictures without having to feel bad about it. We'll keep it for you. But what we love about the book is that you're not just coloring, you're kind of creating a character, you're creating a name. And with my kids, I find I get more details from them. And that was sort of the point of it too, is just to kind of, for mine anyway, stimulating speech and getting them to kind of use their imagination. We even started creating stories. That's something we do. So if you go on the page, you'll not just see coloring, but also just we turned some of their characters into full-blown stories that the kids create whenever they're inspired. So we hope you go check it out. Yeah, Cutie Pie coloring book. Right, I did it. I did it.
You totally did it. And what is your handle?
Okay, at Cutie Pie Coloring, and then on Amazon. Well, you'll have the links there to Amazon, but that's where it's available. So Cutie Pie Coloring book on Amazon.
Oh my gosh, folks. We talked about all the things. We covered all of this stuff. We so look forward for more Brit Jason time and her coming back to Port Charles. Cannot wait for next week. That's a wrap. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye
Bye.
bye.